everyone, and welcome to our next interview for Top Tips for Archaeology Graduates. Today we're joined by Preston. Hi Preston, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. So Preston is a project officer for Cotswold Archaeology. Preston, could you tell us a little bit about what a project officer is and what are some of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, essentially I run archaeological sites and excavations for Cotswold Archaeology. So that involves sort of running the actual field work. So I'll be directing people how, the actual archaeological process on site. So what we need to dig, how we excavate it. I will then take all of the information that we gather on site and create reports. So actually writing about what we found, how it fits into the sort of archaeological context of the area. And then those reports will be get archived, and that becomes the sort of part of the history of the site. So it's really about preserving the history of the site through archives, and that's what I do. Yeah, so it's mainly running the excavations on the ground.
What are some of the things you enjoy about being a project officer?
Well, one of the amazing things, of course, is that we never know what we're going to find. So when we excavate a site, just being able to actually retrieve information from the ground, to excavate things, see the artifacts coming out, build the story of the site. It's an amazing thing to do, and to draw that together with all of the historical information that we can gather about the site as well, just create a picture of what was happening there. As I say, we just never know what we're going to find, and that's always the most exciting part, really.
Yeah. And what are some of the things you perhaps find more challenging about the role?
Well, it involves a lot of sort of managing different aspects. Of course, there's the archaeological side of things, so it's knowing about what you're excavating, how to approach it. But there's also sort of managing the client as well. Part of our job is the reason we're there is to excavate ahead of development. So of course we have to be in contact with the developer themselves to make sure that they understand what we're doing, make sure that our sort of timing of our excavation fits in with what they're doing. Managing people on site and all the various issues that can arise there. So it's just lots of different aspects that you have to pull together and make sure it all fits together on site.
Yeah. A lot of different things to manage. So it is a step up then from being a site supervisor. You're stepping a little bit away from perhaps the day-to-day digging and having more of that overview and spending time both in the field and back in the office writing and researching on the project. So can I ask then, we get a lot of questions from students who say, I know how to get my first archaeology job, but understanding that progression and how you move up the system to different levels of responsibility, maybe you could talk to us a little bit about your journey from student to project officer.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's also a question I had when I first started out. I mean, really, the starting point is sort of a trainee archaeologist, and a lot of companies out there do have training schemes which will sort of teach you how to excavate, what the job involves, and then really it's about if it interests you and you love the job, continuing in that, you'll eventually be raised to a field assistant, which is the sort of main, the guys who actually dig things on site. And the next role after that is supervisor. And again, most companies will have supervisors training schemes in place. So if you're enjoying the job and you're starting to learn things about how to manage people, you can go into one of those schemes. And after supervisor, there's project officer. And as you say, that's kind of a step up, because you're no longer really just involved with the excavation side of things, the archaeological side. You start to move into sort of more project management, I guess, and managing people. So yeah, the starting point is trainee, and if you just sort of stick with it, and if you enjoy the job and you do a great job, you'll eventually move your way up. That's what happened to me, really. Just it took some time, but I got there in the end.
Yeah. So can I ask, how do you feel that your degree, I know that was many years ago now for you, prepared you for this type of role? What are some of the things that stand out from, I guess, the skills that you learned, but also some of those transferable skills as well?
Well, I think the big one really was just learning how to do research, and because of course my job involved bringing all of that historical information together to try and understand the site that I'm excavating. And really my course was all about sort of digging into the books and the literature around it, and it's something I really enjoyed, was all the research and just being able to pull that together, and that's how the course helped, really, just giving me that sort of basis about how to find information out and how to use it correctly.
Do you remember what your dissertation was on?
I do, yes. It was on the Mesolithic Neolithic transition, about polished stone axes and the role they played. I really enjoyed writing that, actually. I think that was one of the highlights of my time at university, I have to say.
Okay, yeah. So what top tips would you give then for anyone who wanted to follow in your footsteps, who is keen on, who's either a student now who'd like a career in field archaeology, or perhaps people who have recently graduated in that position of just getting their first archaeology job and thinking, actually, I'd like to progress up to project officer?
Well, there's a lot of demand out there for field archaeologists at the moment. So I think look for a company that has a training scheme in place. Would be a good start. There's a few out there that have got, you know, training schemes. Start at that level, and really just sort of just try and learn as much as you can on the job as you go, and just you know, really try and understand what the job involves, what you need to do to understand the archaeology, and yeah, just sort of keep at it, really. That would be my top tip.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for joining us today, Preston. It's been really great to hear about the role of project officer. It's a word that people hear a lot, and I think until they get into the archaeology world themselves, it's hard to know what exactly that role means. So really great to hear your insights. Thank you to everyone for watching. Join us next time for more top tips for archaeology graduates.